Nation's Xavier Walton has more on the people on board that American Airlines flight. And Xavier, I can't stop thinking about them, the loved ones who were there to pick them up that night. At least 30 bodies have been recovered so far. So many families grieving today. What more are we learning?
Hey, Markie, good morning. Yeah, we are learning more. We're starting to hear more names, right? We're starting to see, unfortunately, more faces. You got to think about it this way, too. We are talking about 67 lives lost. And for each life, you got to think they had a mom, a dad, potentially a brother or a sister. We're talking about families that are absolutely just devastated and crushed right now, even significant others. But among those 67 lives lost, we are learning more about their names, learning about who they are. That includes 2 teenage figure skaters, their moms, and 2 world champions who were coaching at the historic Boston Skating Club, who were killed in this horrific crash. Right now, these are pictures, but there's a growing memorial at the facility there in Boston. The 2 coaches I just mentioned for the Boston club that died, Russian world champions Evgenia Shishkova and Vadim Nemov. We're also learning that their 23-year-old son of those coaches actually competed at that same competition in Wichita, Kansas. He actually flew home ahead of his parents who died in that crash. The Russian Figure Skating Federation sending their condolences. We're also learning more about the first officer on that American Airlines flight, 28-year-old pilot. You see him here, Sam Lilly. He'd only been flying about 2 years. His father speaking exclusively about his son to NewsNation's Chris Cuomo.
He was really successful at it. And then his personal life, it just went really well. The girl he's engaged to was just wonderful, and we all loved her. We were just so glad she was going to join our family. And it's just a tragedy.
And you could almost hear it in his voice, right? His son engaged to be married. So I mentioned that off the top, not just family members, but in this situation, he was going to be a groom. He was going to, start his life, just 28 years old. Should also mention Timothy, that is the father there. He was also an Army helicopter pilot. So he had some sense of what was going on that evening.
Yeah, I don't even know how you get out of bed, let alone talk about this right now. These were people's worlds on board, and so much talent, too. Xavier, what more do we know about the soldiers on that Black Hawk helicopter that was also involved?
Well, Markie, we're starting to get a better idea of who they are, who they were. The one thing is Army hasn't necessarily identified them yet. We're obviously, seeing stuff on social media, but out of respect, we're kind of waiting just for a second, taking a beat. But yes, their bodies have been recovered from the Potomac. Overall, it's just, obviously extremely sad, but if you think about it that way, we're still obviously thinking about the investigation, but the people behind it that are impacted, certainly devastating.
And that grim and difficult work continues this morning. Xavier Walton, thank you so much. Let's now.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. Also, don't forget to click that red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.